Cody Alexander match quarters. We're going to be watching the technique of current free agent JC Jackson. This is going to be a catch technique. So he's going to step down and he's going to get square. He's going to catch the receiver. For context, the Patriots are running two-man behind this. So we're going to get an outside stem release by this receiver. Jackson's going to step down and get square. Now, what you really would like is some sort of a popping of the feet or a priming of the feet. He does take a pierce step inside. The only issue with this is that you do a lot of times when you take this pierce step, you actually get your feet a little too wide. He ends up being able to transition out of this, but just for young corners or anybody that's looking at cornerback play, you don't want to really have this wide stance. And also you really don't want to have your arms at the holsters. You're not trying to grab your guns here. You would like them to be a little bit more up, maybe even a slight bend. You want those hands right there kind of by those kneecaps, just so that you don't have to bring those hands up. The tendency is when you bring the hands back, your back is also going to come up. So you end up becoming really tall. And then what do you have to do in order to move again? You got to sink back down. All of those wasted motions are going to end up affecting your play. Now, he ends up doing a really good job on this play. So we get an outside stem. Anytime we get an outside stem and the receiver's already outside of the numbers and we just don't get ran by, it's probably not going to be a fade or a kind of what I call a dropout or a comeback or a back shoulder fade. We're probably not going to get that. So you can see the receiver here is really attacking that outside shoulder. Now, remember, Jackson has help behind him, so he can be very patient with this. You can see that he's going to hinge open. He's saying, look, if you want to run outside, that's perfectly fine with me. I'm going to probably shoot both of my hands, and then I'm going to run you to the sideline. Instead, he gets essentially an in route. So we're going to get kind of that 5-yard in. So he comes up. He's going to then give that kind of that stutter step, that rocker step that receivers really like to do, and then he's going to break in. Remember, that plant foot on the outside is up. If he was going to try and run vertically by us, he would bring this inside foot up as well. So we would end up seeing kind of where he is going to transition to here, and we're going to get that inside foot is actually going to get in front of the back foot. Instead, what we have is this front knee stays front the whole entire time, which tells me he's going to plant and he's going to drive back inside. So Jackson does a nice job of then transitioning here. Once he gets inside, he's going to kind of grab to kind of get back in control, and then he's going to work underneath. I really like this undercut. If you can use the receiver's momentum to then undercut, notice how he drops this arm. When you get penalties in this, especially in the NFL, remember the corners have 5 yards to press this receiver. When you get penalties in the NFL is typically when this arm is attached to this hip. So you almost kind of sling that receiver back and kind of turn the receiver back just because you're using your minimum. Jackson does a really nice job of sliding into this armpit area, and then he's going to punch through the hands to finish this play. This is really good technique. This is exactly what you want to do on these inside routes, and then he's just going to punch the ball, put his hand in between the hands of the receiver. Remember, the receiver cannot catch a ball if your hand is in between his hands. It's just not going to be possible. Ball bounces up. And then what I really like here is that he's going to rake that arm. He's going to grab that arm. If the receiver is going to catch the ball, it's going to be a spectacular catch. I'm going to give you a little golf clap, and then we're going to line up and do it again because I don't think you can. So this is a good example, again, of a catch technique in what you would see in a two-man concept. So we're going to get the step down. He's going to hold his ground. Remember, he has 5 yards to make contact with the receiver. He's basically got that. There's a little bit of a gray area there. He's going to transition underneath, and then he's going to get that back arm underneath the receiver, and then he's going to then punch through the hands. A lot of times DB coaches will teach this where we want to have an arm on the shoulder, a hand on the shoulder pad to secure the tackle, and then we want to punch through the hands. Sometimes when you teach that, the kids will grab and they'll actually pull that receiver. That's not what we want. I actually don't mind this transition right here because he is ensuring that there's no way that this receiver is going to catch the ball. Either I'm going to catch the ball, I'm going to tip it, or I'm going to make sure that he does not get this. The ball hits the ground. Again, great coverage here by JC Jackson for a catch technique. So he's going to catch the receiver. He's going to transition underneath, and then he's going to punch through the hands.